We're live at AIA25 in Boston. Let's get into it. Welcome to What the RFI. I am Matt Brannon, and this is the podcast all about CA. Today, I'm with Dory and Nadia. Welcome. Tell about yourselves. Well, you have been a repeat guest on the show.
This is my comfort zone. This is my second formal chat with you, but millionth just casual chat.
I think so.
I'm a licensed architect in Ontario, Canada, and I'm here with RIB SpecLink, as well as I'm here on I maybe explained this to you yesterday, but on behalf of the AIA to help promote the conference as well from a content perspective. So
and we're going to get into that for sure.
Yes. And then they said, hey, you know what? As part of the package, you can bring a guest.
Yeah, and you got a date.
And I brought a date.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never been a date to a conference before. I've attended many, but never as the date.
Maybe this is a whole new thing that people can do, like conference dating.
This could make this viral.
Oh my God.
Counseling.
This is the last day I'll be poor. We're rich after this.
Yes, exactly. High hopes. So before we get into the conference itself, fun stuff.
Yeah.
You guys went on a tour. You checked out Boston. I've never been, so
we came together. She got to spend the day out and about yesterday where I was with you on the floor.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That was pretty exciting, I must say.
And it's my first time in Boston, so we're staying a couple extra days. So I'm looking forward to checking out some
cool
sites.
So you've got more. So you're gonna be here. Okay,
yeah,
so
we
I'm
leave on
flying.
Monday, so we're
Yeah, we packed in some vacation time, some touristy time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like a couple things I did, because I came on Tuesday night, didn't do a whole lot, and then Wednesday was the free day before this, the expo and the conference and everything, and I booked well in advance, and I think you could have done it earlier, but probably pick up tickets for you guys. But I went to the Fenway Park, the ball stadium and everything, and there's a number of tours, and one of them was the 8 a.m. start, so it's an early riser one, but you walk the field. So you don't walk the grass.
That would be cool.
And I saw the second tour come in afterwards, and I'm like, that doesn't look exciting because it's like $80, so it is a little bit more, $70, but it's totally worth it. The guy George, he knew everything. Like he must have been 70 years old. Okay. He knew the history. He told it because this stadium was built in 1912. Yeah. Labor rates were like 12 cents. If you're in masonry, it was like 20 cents. Yeah, they're pretty darn close there.
I was gonna say.
But he took you through the whole history and everything and the stories and everything and how some parts were burned because fans were ticked off because Boston was on a dynasty and then they shut down because they traded. Babe Ruth wanted 20 grand in his contract and they just said no. And then he went to New York and you know how the history plays out, right? Yeah. And what
20 grand, that's awesome.
And it was pretty cool. And then we went back later and saw the game, and they won. And it was my real first baseball game because, again, living in Vancouver, there is no, Blue Jays or we have
Tigers. We go to Tigers are right next to us. So
exactly. So in that case, went to the game. It was the most epic game. It was neck and neck.
9-9
exactly.
Or something? Yeah.
Jack's like, this is not normal. You're gonna be spoiled for the rest of the games. No game's gonna be like it. And it was epic. Caught the video at the end. I'll post it on the channel and everything.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. But one recommendation, but there's so much to see. So what do you guys want to see?
Well, what did you do yesterday?
So this is my second time in Boston.
Okay.
So yesterday I did a walking tour of the Freedom Trail.
Okay, I did that too, but go on. I want to hear your version.
Okay, cool.
Of it.
Yeah, so I started at the Boston Common, and it was a guided tour. So I had a woman who was dressed in 17th or 18th century clothing. She brought us through the first, from the Boston Common up to Paul Revere's house. So about half, a little more than half of the trail. But, telling us the different stories along the way. And I can't remember what the name of I think it's the Granary Burying Ground, but that's where Paul Revere, John Hancock.
Yes.
Cool. I can't remember the third one now. Another of the signatories of the Declaration of Independence is in there. And so she was telling us. One fun thing I learned about, though, is Sam Adams, the beer.
Yes.
And it's got the figure of the person on it. That's not apparently actually Sam Adams. It's Paul Revere. So that was a fun thing. But it was really neat. We saw, the different buildings and the really old, where the Boston Massacre happened. And I'm a fan of the series Outlander.
Okay.
So being able to see the different landmarks of things that wove through that story was really neat. So
I'm looking forward. There's a Frank Gehry building at MIT. I think it's called the Strata Center or something like that I'm really excited to go check out.
Cool.
If we got time. But so we got a couple of days. It's poorly planned, our couple of days.
We're winging it. But
we're winging it all.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's a backpack and a pair of shoes and a coffee, and we'll just roam around and see where we end up.
You'll do it. Absolutely. So then switching gears to the conference, you spoke. And what did you speak
So
about?
I didn't speak at this conference.
Oh no, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
you were at what conference did you come from? That's right. You were at the
So
last.
I spoke at the OAA, the Ontario Association of Architects.
That's
and I
right.
spoke at the CSC, the Canadian Specification, or Construction Specifications Canada. I spoke at those two. I applied to speak here.
Yeah,
and,
same too. Yeah, take note.
Just saying. I did not get awarded the opportunity to speak here, but I will try again next year.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I would love, like, I love speaking. I think a lot like you, like, give me a microphone and a camera and I'm ready to go.
Absolutely.
So next year, hopefully they reconsider. Maybe they realize once they've seen this episode,
Absolutely.
like, we said no to these guys.
Yeah, like the knowledge, the mentorship, everything.
The t-shirts?
The t-shirts, like, the ideas. But no, it is like, that's why I like doing this. I love mentorship. I've mentored, even in my young days when I shouldn't have been mentoring, because I was like, what do I know? I'm younger than you and stuff. But just the knowledge, like always trying to be better and raise the bar with technology and that kind of stuff. And just even from a workflow standpoint, and the same thing, like I love all the Instagram stuff that you do. Like,
thanks.
Here's a shamrock and here's a thumbs up and here's an AIA, let's make a house. And I was like, that's so cool, because you're always challenging yourself in those difficult,
You know what
scenarios.
I call that? Like, because there is the hater comments, right? It was like,
Yeah.
well, when would you ever build a building like that? I'm like, it's like,
matter.
I call it extreme space planning.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, you back yourself into a corner and try to design your way out of it. And
Yeah.
it's just kind of fun. It's like it's like design cross training. It's
Oh,
just
totally.
like exercise for the brain and the creative soul. And
Exactly.
so that's what it is. I will likely never design a house shaped like a 4-leaf clover in real life, unless you
Maybe
want
for a
one.
leprechaun.
Unless you want one.
Probably
But-
not the rock hands either.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Well, I love you in sign
Oh,
language.
right,
So,
yes.
yeah. So that's why I do those things.
Well, it's like telling a painter not to go in front of the landscape. You're like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, because I love doing it and I
I
want
love
to
doing it.
exercise it. And that's how you get better.
You can
and
just swipe one more time and not have to deal with this.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
what-
true. That's right.
Yeah.
My goodness. But what is the trends? Have you, like, I've been talking to a lot of people about CA because that's all about it. And then the reality is, in the construction world, in the architectural world, it's still present today. It's very interesting how the GC is kind of taken the leap forward because they're running the show when it comes to construction. So again, as architects, you've designed this amazing structure, you've specified everything, you want this. And then the GC gets involved, and sometimes it starts to deviate. And and the sad part of the architectural side is that they're letting the GCs run the show, and saying, "You guys take care of all the ownership. You do the meeting minutes." Well, you just lost that control of the meeting,
Right.
And they're so happy of letting them do that versus saying, "No, we're going to run it." And at my last firm, that's what we did. We did the meeting minutes, right, and the meeting notes. We did that because we wanted to make sure it was actually factual, because we're playing the fair game,
Right.
And two, we logged everything, because constantly we would get blamed for we're holding the project because you're so slow in responding. We just look at our CA logs and say, no, these RFIs were answered in 2 days.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think the contractors have been able to assume that additional control over a project?
I think and I kudos for Procore, because they developed this amazing product. They started catching like wildfire. Every architect is working with a project in Procore. And I think that's just give that little kick. And that's been that little kicker ramp to launch them into this method. And like, well, we're using Procore, so therefore you're going to use this system.
Right.
And then all architects, rather than, saying, okay, but we're going to do it on our own, they just kind of get, I don't know if it's lazy is the right term, or just kind of go with the path of least resistance and say, well, I'm going to go with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, liability, guys.
Yeah. But it's not the fun stuff, right? Like, I think I think we love to do the fun stuff. And then like, wait, you want to do meeting minutes? Yeah, go. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's too much work for me.
Yeah. But not because, it's just there's a responsibility or a potential liability there in not having control of your own documents, right? Relying on somebody else to document your project.
Yeah. So like if you were doing a hospital or like any project, and the GC and I was a GC, and I'm like, all right, Dory, I'm going to run the show for Procore.
Yeah.
How would you respond to me? And the owner, Nadia, right here, she wants to make sure it's built to the way it is. The rock star, I love you house.
So to be honest, I never worked on a building as big as a hospital or anything that got that big and elaborate. So it was, for me, the firms that I always worked for, I always preferred the front half of projects. So I never, the CA world was never one that really like, sorry, you're gonna hate me for this.
No, there's no hate on this. It's all
it just never called to me. I was always so much more drawn to the front, like meeting potential clients, winning them over, designing for them, solving the problem. And then once the idea was like locked in, I'd be more than happy to slide that to somebody else and be like, here, you like, you finish it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do another one of those, do another design. So, that's kind of how I always approach a project. But CA was never a huge passion of mine. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good. Oh, geez. No, it's a mixture thing. Like I said, early days, I was just doing residential, and then it got on to much bigger projects and stuff. And then I was doing one house for one of the owners of the Canucks, which was fun because that was that was a multi-million-dollar one. And it actually did have CA and all the stories that came from that and very, because it's personal now.
Yeah.
When you're doing something commercial, like a school or something, the owner, like, it's not my money. Like, we want to protect the money for the public, but let's just get it in gun. We got a schedule to follow.
That's why I always focus on residential project. When I ran my own practice, it was always residential because I love that, like, that direct impact. Like the decision that person makes across the table for me, they are living with that for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
And
they have skin in the game.
They have skin in the game. And we've built several houses for ourselves.
Okay. That's going to be my next question. Keep going.
But it's when you have to live with your decision, it's different. Like I've worked for firms that did schools and stuff like that. And they're just sort of checking off, it's got to be this, it's got to be this. This is the way we do it. Too bad. This is how it goes.
That's right.
But if they had to sit in that office or in that classroom 6 hours a day, right, would they make a different decision? Probably. Maybe they'd want the windows a little bigger. Maybe they'd want the, something done a little different. So I do. I always valued that skin in the game. That the decisions I'm making, I'm dealing with.
Right. So Nadia, what's it like living with an architect?
This was a great interview, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's time to wrap. What is it like?
Yeah.
What is it
Do
like?
tell.
Well, a lot of our trips center around going to cities that have buildings that he wants to see.
Nice. Yep.
So, but that's fine because I am not architecture adjacent in any way in my career, but but that makes it interesting, actually, I think. So I learn a lot of new things. Building houses. I mean, being able to, I don't know that I would have undertaken this kind of thing without having someone in the know. Definitely all the projects we've done, whether it's building our house or like adding, renovating the backyard and all that kind of stuff. There's a knowledge there that I would have to hire someone to navigate those projects. Instead, I just married him. So
good plan.
There's two options here.
Yes.
You could hire someone, or just marry them.
Marry them.
Yeah,
the labor becomes free.
Yes,
and there you go.
It's almost probably about the same. Wedding, hiring.
Oh, I'm going to start a spreadsheet. I'll invite both you guys. We'll
start looking at it and we'll start planning out.
Part 3 have something that we can use.
We probably could. Let's do it.
Just rig something up for us, would you?
I think that would actually be fun.
Is it cheaper to hire an architect or marry an architect?
That's the next one. That's what we're going to call this one.
Is it cheaper to marry an architect?
Were we talking about AI? No, this is anyways.
No, this is, that's funny. I love that.
I guess one thing I always find going into places, you start critiquing everything, especially code. You're like, this is not accessible. If I was in a wheelchair, I would be stuck in this hallway all
day. Europe, right? You were just in Europe, right? Yeah. So I know going there to the super old cities, right? You're like, how do people with mobility issues get around? Or do they?
I don't think so.
We've been lucky enough to spend some time in Paris in our lives. And I'm like, well, there's like a 20-foot fall right over there. Just no guardrail, no nothing.
No.
Or
just
if there is, it's like shin high and it's not going to protect anyone.
That's perfect.
It's more of a tripping
in a lawn.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're going to fall farther from this wall than we want you to.
Right into the canal,
So, I do the code, but the codes they vary city to city,
totally do.
Province to province, state to state, anyways, right? So I'll post something online about what was the big one, like some room dimensions, and I would get like, I'm Canadian, we're Canadian, and I designed to my Ontario code. The Americans would just flood in with correcting my video, like, that's wrong. The railing's got to be this tall according to this code, and I'm like, that.
And they're less restrictive too.
Yeah,
typically.
And I'm like, I wish I could do. I think it's coming to Canada, but the horizontal cable railings.
We finally got that in the last code. Like for residential,
but forever,
like this that we're seeing outside, you can't do that.
But I would like, people would like want that. I'm like, we can't do that. And they'd show me photos. I'm like, no, here, like it is possible. And like, that's in like Florida. They can do it. We can't do it.
Yeah.
But so that's always a funny thing of different areas. And then the European, a lot of the European comments I get on my videos laugh at our garage sizes. They're like, what is it with North Americans being obsessed with their garages?
Right. Well, because there are all cars out there.
Yeah.
There's no trucks.
Yeah.
Literally.
And they're small cars.
Yeah.
So it's, that's another really interesting, and I love that stuff, right? Like I know what I'm doing, what I'm talking about is not wrong where I am, but I like hearing the other perspectives of like, oh, that's like, I'm going to get this wrong, but it might be Finland. Sorry if I'm wrong. Bathroom doors need to swing out of the bathroom. They can't swing into the bathroom in case somebody slips, falls, injures themselves. That's what I was told in one of my comments. Anyways.
Interesting.
But I'm
that
like,
makes a lot of sense.
Like in a commercial project?
No, even residential.
So that they can get access to them if they fall and lock the door.
Falls,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I see the logic. It's interesting. We don't have to do that. But thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Like we did that for inclusive washrooms in a school because we didn't want to swing out. So you're getting you get pegged by these doors because it's all coming in this common area, right? And so we did actually a double swing, which is cool because it swing naturally inside. But if in that case where a student did barricade, we could come in, unlock it, push the stop, and then swing it back out. And it was all good and stuff. It took a lot of planning. Want to patent it, but hey,
here we are.
Here we are. So
how are we on time?
We should. Yeah, we got 1 minute to wrap up.
1 minute.
So key takeaways for AIA25.
Sleep well before showing up because it's so big. There's so much ground to cover. Just bring your energy, because if you want to talk to people, if you want to engage, if you want to just grab a coffee and roam around, that's one thing. But if you want to talk to the vendors, people at the booths, attend some sessions, it's a lot of energy. So
it totally
get your rest.
Get your rest. Yeah, I think it's been good. I've been seeing the social feeds and everything. We went out. You guys went out last night.
Yeah.
The vibe's been there. It seems like it's been an awesome success. I have no idea where it's going to be next year. AIA.
San Diego.
Yes, that's so much
That's
closer.
Your time zone. That's my time zone. You don't even have to leave your time zone.
We are going surfing, everything. This is awesome. Okay, let's start planning it tomorrow.
I usually have to beg her to come with me to conferences.
Oh, you're coming to
San Diego. And now it's like, she's like, San Diego? She's like, you're going to San Diego.
Yeah.
And we're doing another podcast too.
I would love that. On the beach.
On the beach. Oh, yeah, we can do it. The sand.
Yeah.
The waves. That's my happy place.
That is in no way detrimental to your equipment. It'll be fine.
It's totally fine.
We'll bring a table, just folding table like this.
Exactly.
Put like zinc on our noses.
Yeah,
we'll do the whole thing.
And
maybe we'll change the name of like What the RFI for one episode to like something, or beach edition or something like that.
Yeah, the Beach Boys or something.
We'll figure it out. We got a year to brainstorm.
We got it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Quick plug. Where can we find you again?
So personally, Dory.Azar.Architect on socials. I also rep RIB SpecLink. We've got a booth here as well for your spec writing needs. But just Google my name and pretty easy to find.
Yeah, you are. Nadia, on any crazy social feeds, any little side things?
So yes, I do have Instagram. It's Dr. Nadia Azar, and the work I do, I'm a professor of kinesiology at the University of Windsor, and I do research on rock stars, specifically drummers. Study the physical demands of playing the drums. So you can find me there.
Yeah, she's got maybe one of the coolest hustles going.
Yeah. We should have just talked about that today.
Yeah, we got to expand this. If you're in the music industry and want to expand the drummer-related injury thing,
sports science and ergonomics for drummers.
Yeah,
that's so
drummers
cool.
are athletes, man.
Drummers are athletes.
Drummers are athletes.
Right. That is so cool.
Part two.
Part two.
All right.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, we got to wrap this up.
Always
we
a pleasure, man.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
This was such
I chat with you a lot, but I don't get to chat.
Thanks for having me on, even though
this
I have nothing to do
this
with,
was the beauty dynamic that we did. I love it. This is so cool.
Fun.
Something really cool is going to come out of this. Maybe it's like a conference dating app, or maybe it's cheaper to marry an architect. I don't know. Something's
we're going to definitely
coming. Once the dust settles here, something good's coming.
We're going to schedule that one really soon, because I think that one would be just good in general. Absolutely. Let's do it. So architects, keep designing, and contractors, if you're here, keep making those blueprints reality. We'll see you on the next one.